I'm talking today with David Ray from the Corangamite Shire. Hello, David.
G'day, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, firstly, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do there at the Shire?
Look, I'm employed with the council here based out of Camperdown. I've been in my role here for just on 2.5 years now. My role here is one of 3 directors that reports to the CEO, and my portfolio takes in corporate and community services, which is effectively finance, IT, HR, and community services, which is in the area of aged care and children's services.
Okay, well, let's talk about your schooling and your education. Was that an important part in reaching and achieving your goals?
Oh, look, most definitely. I think without having obtained Year 12 and then going on to further education, there'd be no way I'd be in the role I am today. So, particularly, secondary school education was a big part of that. And
which school did you go to, and what subjects did you study?
Look, I was born and bred in Warrnambool and still do live in Warrnambool. I went to CBC, now known as Emmanuel College. And the subjects predominantly going through the latter part of my secondary schooling were more commerce related, but also had some more softer subjects in terms of physical education as well, because I did enjoy sport going through school, and I found that a good, if I can call it a relief from the more time-intensive subjects such as accounting and legal studies.
And what were some of the biggest challenges for you at school, and what did you do to overcome them?
I think some of the biggest challenges, as a teenager going through school, is getting that long-term view of life after school. I mean, as a kid, you often have very short-term goals and aspirations, and often those revolve around weekends and so forth. And so I think the challenge is there is to get that long-term focus of where you want to be beyond school. And I think having those conversations with parents and career advisors is really important in that space. The other challenge is always committing time to study, getting the required marks, particularly as you get into the VCE, to get into those university education courses is really challenging to do, particularly when you've got a lot of external distractions going on with football and time with your friends and so forth.
And what about deciding about the career that you wanted? Was there someone that influenced you there?
Look, not particularly. I think in terms of the career I wanted, I think I'd always wanted to stay in rural and regional areas. And living in Warrnambool, Deakin was not that far away from home. And so choosing an academic course that suited my desire to stay regional, but also something I could study locally, and commerce sort of fitted into that space quite well. And I think parents and teachers are great encouragers in that space. And I think one of the things I did do quite regularly going through secondary school was having those frequent conversations with career advisors.
And who would you say that has had the biggest impact on your schooling over the years?
Look, I think my parents particularly. Both of those never had the opportunity for further education, and so they were both really great encouragers to go on to further education and stay at school. I think teachers themselves. I know I had some really great teachers going through secondary school, and I think it's half the battle. If you have a really good student-teacher relationship, often the desire is there to continue on with the education. And then as I progress into university, having really fantastic lecturers as well always helps.
And how did you get through the hard bits that life tends to throw at you, David?
Yeah, it's reflecting back through secondary school. It's some time ago now, but I think it's realising that, you don't have to do it on your own. You've got to, it's important to speak about the issues. If you can't talk to, family or parents, I think, having close friends or a close mentor, whether that's a sporting coach or a close, relative or family friend, that, having those conversations are really important. I think it's important to stay positive as well. Seeking out assistance when you need to, and I think it's also important to have that, that recreational or cultural outlet, whatever it is, whether you enjoy, playing in a band or playing footy, having something outside of school is really important.
And what key messages would you tell students that are thinking about leaving school prior to completing Year 12?
I think the key message from my perspective is, is don't. And I say that because, we live in a society or a part of the world where education is readily accessible. When you look around what's going on, in the world today, many kids would love the opportunity to attend school. And there's countless examples of recent times where kids would love to do so, but haven't been given that opportunity. And I'll give you one example where there's this young girl in Pakistan who just fought for the right to attend the school, but because she was female, she was shot in the face by the Taliban because of that desire. And I think, it's thinking beyond just Western Victoria. I think, consider it a privilege that we do have that opportunity, to attend a secondary school. I think also, if you are thinking about it, talk to your parents. It's a long time working. School's really a short period of time. And I think, if someone is thinking about leaving school, really try to understand why. Maybe have those conversations that I previously spoke about. But perhaps go down an academic career path and study something that you really do enjoy. I think if you find that, adopt that ethos, study what you enjoy, I think you'll get through schooling, fairly easily. But, there's also alternate learning pathways out there, so it's not just secondary school. There's TAFE, and there's also, trade apprentices and so forth that, kids can sort of move into.
And David, what about students in years 9 and 10 and choosing subjects going forward for their latter years at school? That's pretty important to plan out?
Yeah, look, it is, and I think I sort of touched on it there briefly. It's about, I think, understanding what you do enjoy, and what you're good at, and I think it's often difficult to make those subject choices at that time. But if you sort of lean in that direction of what you enjoy and what you're good at, I think your VCE studies become that much more enjoyable. Becomes less of a burden, and that's why I think your career advisors can help in that space, and as can parents as well.
And how do you manage your time?
Look, in my current capacity, I think diary is key to that, and a task manager. What I find is that it's good to write things down. It's good to get things out of your head and on paper, and that's where it's important to take the time and plan things out. For example, if there's an assignment due or and so forth, it's always good to just diarise that and start planning how you're going to deliver that assignment on time and in a with a quality product. There's also using things such as email and messaging and so forth, but also prioritising is important. It's important also to take short breaks, keep your mind fresh, and above all, get that good work-life balance. It's not always about work or about school. You've got to have those recreational pursuits as well.
And who would you say has inspired you, and why?
Yeah, good question. I think I'll probably answer this in three parts. I think there's those individuals that have created or started something out of nothing, and I think there's two individuals that come to mind there. There's Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. I think the world would be a very different place without those two individuals. I think there's individuals who have overcome adversity, and a couple of young guys there that come to mind is a gentleman named Sam Cawthorne and another gentleman named Nick Vujicic, I think his name is. Both of those have overcome adversity and have gone on to live really fulfilling lives. And Nick is a young man who was born without limbs, and really inspirational in what he's achieved in his life. And Sam was involved with a car accident and again lost limbs and went through a recovery process to overcome his adversity. And I think also in our 100th year anniversary, I think the Anzacs, goes without saying that, the sacrifice that, those young men and women gave, almost 100 years ago now, we need to be grateful for that. And I think that's, from my perspective, very inspiring what they did do for us to have the life we do have today.
David, if someone was interested in a career like yours, what's the best advice that you could give them?
Look, I think going through school, I think it's important to get a part-time job. And why I say that, you learn the skill of just interacting with people. Along the way, you earn a bit of money as well. But I think starting early and getting that job is important and creates a good work ethic. Study hard, stay in school, keep learning along the way. Be prepared to be a doer. Everyone that's in a leadership or a senior management role has been there. You don't get here by accident. You've done the hard yards. Believe in yourself is really important, and most of all, don't give up and just keep knocking on doors.
Terrific, David. Well, thanks very much for your time today, and all the best for your career and your future.
Fantastic. Glad I could help. Thank you.